Molweni igama lam ndinguNontutuzela ndizolila apha kunye nawe.
Nkosi mama, Nkosi.
Order, order. Thank you. Good morning. Please. Mr. Hendricks, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
I do. I do.
Mr. Bester, you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Hendricks, you were at one time a member of the security forces, till you were convicted in 1992 for the murder of Mr. Goweni while he was in custody?
Correct.
Your part in Mr. Goweny's death is the subject of another amnesty application that will be dealt with at a separate hearing?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Hendricks, can you tell us why you chose to put in this application for amnesty, considering that Mr. Mpondo has never threatened to charge you?
Because this is the Truth Commission, and I must tell the truth.
In 1986, you were posted to the Smiths Raffia Police Unit under the command of Captain
Muller.
Can you describe the situation at that time?
Chaos.
And what do you consider to be the main problem?
A shortage of information.
Information.
Yeah.
In May, you arrested Mr. Alex Mpondo.
On the 5th.
Mr. Chairman.
And held him for 28 days.
31.
31?
Mr. Chairman.
Ms. Barkent.
Mr. Hendricks, were you aware that Mr. Stephen Sizella was picked up alongside Mr. Mpondo?
Yes.
And 3 days later was allegedly turned loose. He's not been seen since.
Mr. Chairman, with the best will in the world, this hearing cannot pursue avenues which are not germane to this claim.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to draw the committee's attention to the fact that I have been asked to act for Mr. and Mrs. Sizella in the matter of their son's disappearance. Given that Mr. Hendricks' last statement covers the period during which Stephen Sizella was last seen, I would like to submit that even if Mr. Hendricks did not interrogate Mr. Stephen Sizella, he would have worked closely with whoever it was that did.
We will look into your application, Ms. Barkent. But for the moment, could you please confine your questions to the arrest of Mr. Mpondo?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Good start.
Mr. Bester, would you continue?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Hendricks.
Excuse me, but
around
where are
this
the
time-
exhibits? I asked that objects similar to the ones used on Alex Mpondo be brought here.
They're on their way from the police station.
Did you say these objects are still held at the police station?
Yes, it would appear so, Mr. Chairman.
Not, I hope, still in use?
No. While we're waiting, can we get some more background information on the victim?
Mr. Bester, I'm not a victim.
Well, that is the legal term, Mr. Chairman.
Don't refer to him as a victim if he doesn't like that word.
Well, what shall I call him?
Mr. Mpondo.
Mr. Hendricks, what led you to arrest Mr. Mpondo?
I had information that he was involved in the transportation of MK terrorist weapons from up north. And I got a tip-off that he was in the Sagiestop area. So we picked him up.
So how did you set about accessing information from Mr. Mpondo?
By beating him.
Quiet, quiet.
Severely?
For the record, that's a yes.
I got a sense that he was holding back.
So you had to put more pressure on him.
We decided to break him.
And how did you go about this?
The prisoner would be brought into my office, and we would have a conversation. And if that proved unsuccessful, then he would be forced over the table or suspended between the desks.
And beaten again?
Yeah.
For how long?
An hour or so. An hour at a clock.
Then you would question him again?
No, he'd be in no state to talk. He would be sent back to his cell, and I would send for him the following night. But Mr. Mpondo, he held out.
At which point you introduced the bag.
That is correct.
We know what you mean by the bag, Mr. Hendricks, but for the benefit of those who don't, could you explain?
It is a canvas bag. It's standard issue at all stations.
As an instrument of torture?
No, Mr. Chairman, it's used for carrying ledgers and logbooks.
Okay,
Are you sure you're okay? I can request a break.
I'm okay.
The suspect would be forced to the ground. And I would pull a wet bag very tightly over his head.
Okay.
They say that it gives a sense of drowning. Which is why I would use the clock again. To make sure that that didn't happen.
Laat dat.
But the suspect can recover quite quickly.
Okay, you waking up now?
So you're able to resume almost immediately.
You start talking about all your mates.
And if that proves unsuccessful, it can be repeated.
Again?
And again.
Yes, but in the end, did the use of the bag get you what you needed?
He told me what I wanted to know. About where the arms and ammunition were stored.
It is in Mr. Hendrick. It is in Mr. Hendrick's interest
Quiet! Quiet!
to claim that his interrogation of Alex Mpondo yielded material results. Otherwise, what would justify the long and brutal treatment to which my client was subjected?
Ms. Barkent, will you please keep your composure?
Mr. Chairman, my client will refute these allegations when he comes to testify.
Mr. Baxter, would you continue, please?
Mr. Hendricks, are you married? For the record, please.
I'm divorced.
Children?
Yanni is 16 and Elise is 12.
Where are they now?
Overseas. My wife, she left me. She said it wasn't easy living with somebody like me.
Because of the danger?
The fear. We live behind the wire. My son needed a guard to go to school.
Did you suffer psychologically?
I've had nightmares. And the doctor said that I had suffered from PTSD.
Post-traumatic stress disorder?
Yes.
What are the symptoms?
Nightmares. Alex.
Miss Barkent, is your client unwell?
No, Mr. Chairman, just overcome by nausea, having listened to claims of victimhood from a self-proclaimed torturer who feels he deserves our sympathy.
Mr. Chairman, I have here a list of symptoms characteristic of PTSD. Hyperarousal, bouts of inexplicable anger.
Bring on the violins, Mr. Bester. Ben wants to see you.
I cannot sit there listening to him talk about how much he suffered and his bloody PTSD.
Oh, listen, Alex. I've known you for a long time. We've struggled too hard and waited too long for an opportunity like this.
Look, man, I came back here to find Steve, but this price... it's too high. If Hendricks' version of the truth takes hold, then that's the end for me in politics. I'm finished! You heard what he said. That I broke.
Is there anything you need to tell me about what happened that you didn't tell me at the time?
No. I don't know. I just cannot afford to go down that line.
Are you okay?
Yes, you?
Yes. Shall we go back?
Not today.
Why not?
I'm going to look for something. If I can find it, it'll prove I didn't break under torture.
You have to go back to the hearing.
I'll see you tomorrow.
What would you like me to tell the chairman?
Tell him I'm suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder.
Now, with reference to your application to represent Mr. Steve Sizela, we have come to a judgment, which is that although Steve Sizela was last sighted at the police station, you have supplied no direct evidence which links Mr. Hendricks to Steve's disappearance. We therefore rule that you will not be permitted to cross-examine Mr. Hendricks regarding Steve's fate.
Order! Stelter, Tulani! Order, please! Mr. Hendricks, we suggest that you meet with Miss Barkent with a view to helping her find the answers that Mr. and Mrs. Sizela are looking for regarding their son.
Mr. Hendricks will meet with Miss Barkent.
Minutes.
You remember the first time I met you, Sarah? We picked you up belly dancing with the natives one night, Pete and I. You must have been about 16 and drunk.
You don't recall that occasion?
I recall the stone floor of the cell you threw me in.
Only until that lefty lawyer, Ben Hoffman, bailed you out. You were actually lucky to get off there with a suspended sentence.
Yeah. Well, my mother wasn't so lucky.
Allowing you to consort with people of other races, eh? She knew it was illegal.
We're not here to discuss my past, Mr. Hendricks.
You're a wild kid, eh? I must admit. I never kind of pictured you then as lawyer material.
Yes, well, it was that experience that made me the lawyer I now am. Stephen Cizella. You remember him?
Little bad kid. The son of a schoolmaster. Plus, he consorted with Mponda. We'd already marked as ANC. By picking them up together, we were hoping that they'd denounce